Garda Representative Association were protesting outside Leinster House because they are in dispute with the government about Lansdowne Road. Now, that is the agreement that is underpinning public sector pay in this country. But as many of you know, the Gardai and the teachers, the ASTI, have so far declined to sign up to Lansdowne Road. Now, to tell us why is Arklow-based Garda Aidan Whelan. And Aidan, thanks very much for coming in to our studio this morning. Tell us first, what's going on? Why are you in dispute with the government?
Yeah, thanks, Niall. Niall, the Garda Representative Association had an agreement with the government under the Haddington Road, and they were entitled to a review of pay, terms and conditions under this agreement. The review was to be completed in June 2014, and it has never been completed. And we are asking the government to uphold their part of the contract and not to continue breaching Haddington Road. We are the only group in the public service who did not have the review completed under Haddington Road, and yet we completed all of what we were required to do by way of changes in work practices, including rosters and the implementation of new initiatives introduced by Garda Management. The Department of Justice and Garda Management accept that we have completed all of our requirements. We continue to call upon the government to appoint a chairperson and complete out this review.
So effectively what you're saying is, because the government didn't hold their side of the bargain under Haddington Road, you're not willing to really sign up to this latest pay deal called Lansdowne Road. But, you know, Aidan, the prospect of Gardaí going on strike is unprecedented, and people will be very worried hearing about that this morning. I mean, how serious is this threat, or are you really just trying to put a gun to the head of the government?
Well, Niall, Gardaí are prohibited under the current legislation from engaging in industrial action, which includes going on strike. We are presently prevented from being members of trade unions, even though a European court judgment from over 3 years ago found that we are entitled to trade union status and to strike action. We have advised the government that with their failure at present to honour the requirement under the Haddington Road, that we now find ourselves in an industrial dispute with the government. The government only yesterday put in place FEMPI legislation, which will further affect the youngest members in Garda Síochána from getting their pay increments, including that of rent allowance. It must be appreciated, Niall, that any person joining Garda Síochána at the moment is on a salary of in around 23,000 per annum.
For young guards, it's awful, Aidan. I mean, young guards coming out, 23,000.
Well, I'm sure you'd appreciate that is such a poor wage that you cannot live on. Indeed, many of the younger members who are married on entry are qualifying for family supplement income allowance, whilst at the same time loose drivers are on a salary far greater than that of a Garda. Now, we've no problems with the loose drivers and what they are paid. All we were asking for is that a Garda would be paid a salary befitting of the dangerous job that they carry out.
And I just can you just tell us very, very in your own words, how's morale at the moment in the force?
Well, in my experience, morale is at an all-time low. I'm in the job 17 years now, and I've never seen it as low as it is at the moment.
Yeah. But as I say, listeners will just be, aghast at the prospect of Gardaí going on strike. I mean, are we talking about the potential of all-out strike? You've already mentioned there that under the law you're prohibited from doing it. You could actually risk jail if you went on strike as a Garda officer, isn't that right?
Well, that's correct. But Niall, at this point, the Garda Representative Association are not ruling anything in or out.
Well, that's everything. So, when are you going to be meeting to discuss, as an executive? When are you going to be meeting to discuss your next course of action? Yeah, the Garda Representative Association, the CEC executive, will be meeting next week. They're meeting from Monday through to Thursday in relation to this, and we'll be deciding what actions will be taken from that. You're listening to Garda Aidan Whelan, and he's telling us very much some of the problems in the force. And as we have been talking, this is a dispute between the government and the GRA about Lansdowne Road. And Aidan, obviously, before I do let you go, I mean, would you be hopeful that there could be a solution, there could be a breakthrough found? What does the government need to do here?
Well, first and foremost, Niall, I think they must be serious about negotiations. Our members rejected the Lansdowne Road Agreement by in excess of 86%, and we've constantly explained to the government that, in particular the Taoiseach, Mrs. Frances Fitzgerald, that to be fair, she's not really listening to us, but we've explained that we were seeking that the Haddington Road is completed fully before we enter into any negotiations in relation to the Lansdowne Road Agreement.
Yeah, but at the moment, and looking at what Pascal Donoghue and Francis Fitzgerald are saying in response, Aidan, they're saying we're not going to budge. And, Unfortunately, that seems to be the position we're in at the moment now. So it's a stalemate. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and just any final remarks? I mean, you probably never envisaged the prospect of going up to Leinster House yourself and having to protest outside the Dáil on a very, very serious issue that's affecting so many of your members.
Absolutely, Niall. Look, at the end of the day, we're looking just for a fair day's pay for a fair day's wage, or a fair day's wage for a fair day's work, and that's all we're looking for. We're looking for pay restoration. At the moment, a new member of Garda Síochána entering Templemore is on the same wages as a member of Garda Síochána who entered Templemore in 2001, and the reality is we've regressed 14 years or 15 years in relation to pay, and we're just looking for restoration of pay first.
But if the government do a deal for the guards, won't the nurses then be looking for another deal? Won't all the other sections of the public sector who have signed up to this agreement, they'll be saying, well, what about us? Why do the guards get special treatment?
Well, Niall, I can't speak for the nurses or the teachers. I can only speak for the members of Garda Síochána, the members that I represent here in Wicklow Division, and the members that are coming to me with the problems, financial difficulties that they're suffering, they're the members that are my concern.
Garda Aidan Whelan, based down in Arklow, thank you very much for joining us and bringing us those details on what is a very, very serious issue politically. Aidan Whelan is based down in Arklow, and I think certainly you'll all have views on what he has to say. You're listening to Wicklow This Week.